Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of 60 Plus Uncensored, the show where we have real, unfiltered conversations with people over 60 and those who work with and care about them, who are still working, growing, living with purpose, and refusing to fade quietly into the background. I am your host, Seb Frey, and I started this podcast because I wanted to shine a spotlight on people who are still out there doing the damn thing, building businesses, chasing dreams, raising hell, or even finding love later in life. Today, we're tackling a topic that many of you have asked about, finding love and companionship in your later years. It can be a different landscape than it was, when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. And so who better to guide us through that than a true expert? That's why I am so thrilled to have a special guest on this episode, professional matchmaker Cheryl Maida. With over a decade of experience, Cheryl has helped countless successful individuals find meaningful, long-lasting relationships. She brings a fresh, no-nonsense approach to dating after 60, focusing on what really matters. Cheryl, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it is so nice to be here. I'm really excited. So, how did I get started? Which everyone always asks me. It's kind of funny. So, I was an executive recruiter right out of college. So, I recruited for high-end professional jobs. So, I was constantly interviewing people, setting them up for job interviews. Fast forward, I have my 3 children, and I was deciding, I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something where I'm giving back, but at the same time, I wanted it to be my own schedule because my kids were coming home from school. My father is the one who calls me up, who I was super close with, and he's like, I have the best idea for you. You're not going to believe this. I think you should become a matchmaker. Now, keep something in mind, Sebastian. This is over 15 years ago. I remember getting so upset at my father. I'm like, who in the world do you know that's a matchmaker? And I'm like, Dad, this is not funny. I'm serious. And he goes, listen to me. You were a recruiter. You were interviewing people. This is the same thing. Instead of setting them up with jobs, you're setting them up with other individuals. He's like, Cheryl, it will never go out of style. So I thought he was ridiculous. I didn't even want to hear it. I literally hung up on him, and I remember doing that. Literally that night, I'm thinking to myself, a matchmaker. I went on Amazon, Googled how to become a matchmaker. I bought a book, okay? The next day, I called about 10 matchmakers all across the country. I pretended I was a different person. One time I was single, I was widowed, I was divorced, I was different ages, just to get a feel of what they offered. And I realized I can do this. I spent $26 on business cards, and that's it. No overhead. So in other words, when I would start recruiting, because remember that was my background, I would go to Starbucks to meet people. So I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. If there was a gentleman in Miami, we would meet in the Fort Lauderdale Starbucks. If I had someone in Jupiter, I would meet them in the West Palm. I went up and down the Starbucks throughout South Florida. Those were my offices, and that is literally how my business began. I did that for about 10 years on my own. So I was the recruiter, the matchmaker, the salesperson, my own HR person. And then I was very fortunate as I kept on growing and just getting out there. I had very successful men joining. And one of my clients is huge entrepreneur. He loved what I started so much. He's like, look, I would love to partner up with you and really give you the means to grow what you started. And that is where I am today. And I work under matchmaking.com now.
Wow, that is amazing. So 15 years ago, your dad says become a matchmaker, and yeah, I mean, we all have notions of what a matchmaker is, and you don't look like my conception of a matchmaker. I don't know what I have in my mind, but I'm thinking like,
Is that a good thing?
it's just neither good nor bad. It's just, like I don't know who I think of a matchmaker as, but like just generally like an older, person with gray hair. I tend to think of a matchmaker because,
Right. Who's like
but
hunched over and like, because you
yeah,
think of also Fiddler on the Roof, the matchmaker
right,
with this woman with
yes,
the cane.
matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match,
Make me
sure.
a exactly. So I think that's why I got like annoyed at my dad. Like, Dad, this is not funny. Why would you tell your daughter to do this? But the greatest thing I ever did. Greatest thing I've ever did.
The greatest thing you ever did. So, how long did it take from the time your dad said become a matchmaker to actually you had those business cards and you were out there meeting people? Was that like 6 months or like 6 years or
Oh my God, I'm talking within a week. Like
within a week?
when I tell you I bought a book the next day, I got it on Amazon. Remember when Amazon was really all books at the time, way back when, and got the book, read it, ordered my business cards. Within one week, I was at my gym starting to go up to people.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, you seem like you're pretty outgoing, and so you actually built your business just handing out business cards to people you thought might need a matchmaker.
And that's exactly it. I handed out business cards. I wasn't shy because remember, I am selling the service. So I always went up to people. My prices were very low at the time. Keep that in mind. I got enough research. I did enough research to see what all these other matchmakers were charging. So I definitely started low. And it was at the gym. I would be out for dinner with my husband and be like, I would be right back. I see two men at the bar. I'm just going to run over there quickly. And I did that no matter where I went, from the mall to you name it. I just went up to people. And then I started doing things on Facebook, started reaching out to people, and I presented myself, I gave them my background, and again, it took a little time. It's funny, you get your first client and you have to make them believe you have this huge database, right?
Yeah, right.
But I didn't. But I really try to sell me, my passion, my background, and then again, it just started snowballing.
Wow. Yeah. So that's pretty gutsy, really. I don't think that 99 out of 100 people would not have the, cojones or whatever, right, to do that, really, So, I mean, you must have been pretty young at the time. You don't look very old right now. You must have just been,
You're
you
very
know,
kind. I was in my 30s.
you were in your 30s. Well, that's still pretty young for our audience anyway. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. So now you were a headhunter before or corporate recruiter. Is there a difference between a corporate recruiter and a headhunter, or are they
No,
the same thing?
no. Usually headhunters just have a niche. So maybe there could be like a medical niche where they are serving all doctors. There could be legal, lawyers. Mine was office support. So it was anything from a secretary to a CEO, anything in between.
So, how did your background in corporate recruiting inform your new business? I imagine that there's kind of a lot of overlap there.
Exactly. Because you know what it was? First of all, I had a recruit. So when a job would come into me and they're like, we're looking for a secretary, this is where our company is. Part of my job was recruiting people looking for jobs and making the match. One of the things I loved the most was, and this is where it relates to matchmaking so much. Again, way back when we had fax machines, I would get people's resumes on the fax machine. Sometimes I would look at a resume, I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. It was done so professionally. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I call them up, bring them in to do an interview, and I'm like, whoa. This person is not what I'm looking for this company, because I got to know the company well. And this is where I go back with, online apps versus in person, right? What you see in front of you is a bio. What you see in front of you is a profile. Meeting is such a different story. And I learned that from my recruiting. That is, a resume, all it was a piece of paper with information. The person in front of me is what sold me. And then the opposite, I would have resumes where I'm like, this is not the greatest. I bring the person in, I'm like, wow, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So that's where I find the correlation between the two. And I loved the interviewing process. I loved making someone so excited for a job. And then when I called them, they got the job. The feeling I had to help them with something so big in their life was just the most gratifying thing for me.
So the interviewing process, yeah. So what's it like onboarding a client, right? Like, how do you figure out, who this client is so you can, find them a good match?
Yeah, sure. So basically, just so people understand, the men are my clients and the women are free. And that's the way we personally work. And there is a story behind it, and I'm happy to explain why. So when someone calls us up, of course, I explain what we do. Not everyone that calls us is a client. So as much as, they're kind of interviewing me, I'm also interviewing them at the same time. And the person that is our typical client is a professional or retired one. The majority of my clients are 50s, 60s, and 70s, and low 80s. Those are the majority of my clientele. What I need to understand is, what are they looking for? And what I mean by that is, it's not a matter if someone's looking for marriage or companionship or long term. If someone calls me and he's like, look, I was divorced, I was married for 40 years, and Cheryl, you know what? I'm looking to play the field. I just want to get out there and date. That's not my client. Then I would tell him, go on the apps. That's what the apps are for. It is someone that is looking for something serious. But again, it could be companionship. It could be long-term. It could be marriage. And as long as their expectations are realistic. What do I mean by that? Perfect example, I turned down this wonderful gentleman, he's 73, actually was a politician. And I was very flattered, got referred to me, had a wonderful interview with him, got down to the last question of, what is your age range you would like to date? His answer was anywhere between 35 and 42. Now keep something in mind. He was a 73-year-old man. There's no judgment. I don't judge anyone. It's your life. My point is, okay, and I guess we could say it on your show, right?
Yeah.
What the hell do you have in common with someone younger, not only younger than your children, but almost closer to your grandkids' age? Like, what would you have in common with that? I just need to understand that. He was very honest, and you know what he said to me? He's like, Cheryl, I understand they might not fall in love with me because I'm so much older. I don't mind helping someone out financially. I don't mind having them learn to fall in love with me. Again, all the power to you. That's not what I do. I don't have one woman in that age range who I would present a man 40 years older. And so I did not sign him up. So that's the example to use of expectations that are realistic, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, so no sugar daddies need apply, essentially.
Correct. Exactly. And you want to know something? There are matchmaking companies and sites for sugardaddy.com, sugarbaby.com. There's no judgment. And I learned that as I was doing this. I think when I was younger, I would sometimes come home and tell my husband, oh my God, you're not going to believe what this guy wants. He's told me he wants big boobs. Can you believe I've learned so much. That's nothing. That's nothing to what I hear today. People come out and they are very straightforward and I love it. But I've learned, listen, it's everyone's life. You are entitled to look for it and date what you want, but I'm also entitled to accept it because the relationship has to work both ways.
Yeah, sure. But the actual intake, like, okay, so you meet somebody at a Starbucks, or I guess maybe now you don't meet at Starbucks anymore, but like, so you meet somebody and like, you talk to them for like an hour or two, or is there like a checkbox form they fill out, or like how does that does that take a long time or?
Sure. So there's two different ways people come to us. We do a lot of marketing. So sometimes someone might see our marketing ad. Well, they will fill out a profile, and then someone will be calling them from a company. If someone gets directly to me, like calls the company asking for me, I would speak to them on the phone. I would say the first call is about a good 20 to 25 minutes. Just really, this call is to explain who I am, what do I do, and to hear a little about them. If they're interested to move forward, we set everything up, we talk about packages, and then we plan a Zoom or in-person interview together. They're welcome to come to the Boca Raton office, or I'm happy to Zoom. Like today, I have a Zoom this afternoon with a new gentleman. That's when we do our interview. The interview takes anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes, give or take, and that's where I ask all the fun questions, learning about them and exactly what they're looking for. Next step is I set them up with our professional photographer. I always want everyone to have good current photos of themselves. And then we begin the process.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So you mentioned your office in Boca Raton. So like, do you service everyone like across the country, or are you just
Yes.
in that market, or?
We do. Our market clearly is bigger here because I started here in South Florida. So our biggest market is South Florida. We are actually on the west coast of Florida, North Florida, and as we speak, we have several clients outside of Florida. California, Arizona, New York. We have one in Texas. So we do now have a little bit all over.
So that's cool. And one interesting thing you mentioned is that the men are your clients and the women are not your clients. So how do you find these ladies for these men? And also, I understand you work in the LGBTQ community, right? Is that correct? So how do you find the partners for your clients?
Sure. So in regard to the men and women, and I'm just explaining, when I started my business, both the men and women were clients. Think about it. I just started a business. I'm not going to say no. 2.5 years into my business, I realized the most stress, and I'm not a stressful person, I had were with the women. And I can say that I'm a woman. They were wonderful women, but their expectations weren't realistic and they had no patience. An example, I would sign up a woman on a Monday. If I sign up a man and a woman on a Monday, the man is like, great, can't wait to hear from you. Wednesday, I'm getting a call from the women, it's been 2 days and I haven't heard from you. Like, where is the guy you promised me? So this is the example I always give. Us women are patient to a point. Like if we were to purchase something online, an outfit, a pair of shoes, a pocketbook, we will wait for shipping. That's no problem. But if you tell me what I purchased is going to come here in 7 months, no way in hell am I waiting for that. And that's the example I give. And when I tell women that, they laugh. They're like, you're absolutely right. So what I did was I said to myself, I need more women and I need them quicker. If I have the women be free, they still have to apply, but if they're free, that would make that grow. So what happened was my men were ecstatic, my database of women tripled. So now I realized this is the route to go, having the women be free. In regard to the gay community, we started that about 4 years ago. I signed up my first gay client, and I make a comment about this all the time. I don't think any matchmaker would say, oh no, I will not work with a gay man or a gay woman, but do you have the database? And like from my beginning of my business, I realized you have to start somewhere. And I was getting a lot of gay men reaching out to me. I signed up my first man, it was a few years ago, and now today, you ready for this? I have more gay clients than I do straight, because it is just really just boomed. I think a lot of the men will tell me, Cheryl, if you have the app, you could go to a bar, pick up someone like this, but I am looking for monogamy. So that is where they're like, Cheryl, we are in desperate need of someone who really has a database of men that are looking for monogamy. So that is, how we began and how we are moving forward. It's been going wonderful.
Right. That's very interesting. So women also need to apply and get interviewed, and but
Correct.
there's no cost for them.
There is no cost from them. They still have to qualify. And again, what is the qualifications? Professional and or retired, but at the end of the day, someone who financially can take care of themselves. Like if someone comes to us and they say, I'm looking for someone to pay my bills, almost like what you said before. Let's say someone who really needed a sugar daddy, I will not present them. Like I become very close with my clients. They trust me to find them someone that is looking for them. I want someone to fall in love with my clients for who they are, not what they provide. But women fill out the application, the profile, they get put in the database, and then we will call them as soon as we have an appropriate match for them.
All right. So I was on your website, and I saw that you have a kind of like a unique process, because like you don't say, okay, you got big tits, you're blonde, right? You're 5'3", you're 105 pounds, right? That is not one of the criteria, or the criteria that you use to match your clients, but you look for attributes, interests, and values and relationship goals. That seems maybe hard to match, because like it's kind of like fuzzy, really, rather than like a hard characteristic like that. So how do you do that successfully?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And also at the end of the day, when you ask a woman or a man, what are you looking for? What do you think you get? Honesty, loyalty, a good heart. We're all looking for that.
Right.
So what it's interesting. So when I interview a man, I will say to him, what are your most important what are you looking for? What is the most important part of your checklist, let's say, right? We all have a checklist, right? Now, sometimes a man would be super honest. Look, looks. I'm all about looks. That is extremely important. I have to be attracted to the person. No problem. What is the second most important thing? Religion. I'm religious. I enjoy to go to temple or church. So maybe religion is. Number 3, I want to have a family. Or if that's a younger person, right? As we get a little older, certain things like I'm retired, I would like to travel, so I want someone that's able to travel. Maybe someone that doesn't have a 9-to-5 job. I have 2 homes. I like going back and forth. Someone might say golf. So someone's might be hobby. Someone might be family. Someone might be religion. Believe it or not, someone is very into politics. Hey, I want them to see eye to eye on politics. So what we do together is narrow down the most important things to them, and then that's what I go off of. Obviously, location, where do they live, where do the women live, age range, huge. Everyone is very set on age range. For me, I don't believe in it. Do not believe in age. I just literally, one of my favorite clients who just got engaged, 83, going to be 84. If I would have brought him on here, you wouldn't believe me. He had traveling around the world, goes out for dinner every night, greatest guy. But if a woman ever heard 83, oh, no, I can't date that. So it really depends on your lifestyle, your everyday lifestyle. And that is how I match a lot of people. And personality, extroverted, introverted, intelligence, all of that goes into it. And at the end of the day, also, I think a gut feeling. I think that plays a huge part in it.
Yeah, that's innate talent that maybe you have. So years ago, I heard about this interesting dating website that was based on matching people by things they hate, right? Because they said, actually, that's one thing that's really a strong predictor of a successful relationship, is you can agree on things that you don't like. Maybe I don't like, some type of music, or I don't like some type of food, or I don't like some sort of lifestyle activity. Have you found that to be like a strong, factor in matchmaking?
That's really interesting. That's actually very funny. I do have some clients that will say to me, because at the end of our interview, I always say, do you have a look or a type, right? Because that's okay to ask. Look, aesthetically is important to some people. And I have some people that will say to me, I just don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. And I love those answers. You know why? Sometimes it's process of elimination, exactly what you're saying, what you're not looking for. So I will say to them, give me a few deal breakers. What are some deal breakers for you? Well, again, and these are just examples. I don't like dogs. I'm allergic to dogs. If someone has 3 dogs, that's a no-go for me. I don't want kids. I don't want kids that live in the house, whatever. So sometimes we do process of elimination by their deal breakers, and that can get us to the right person.
All right, that's very good. Hey, have you seen that show, Golden Bachelor?
Of course, I love that show.
What do you think of the Golden Bachelor? That whole premise, because it's kind of a little bit, I guess, what you're talking about, right? I mean, it's sort of
What's
right.
interesting? You want to hear something interesting about? I love the show. I loved it. I found that, and I don't remember the exact ages of everyone, but it's funny. I was watching, and I was saying this to my husband. I felt like the women's ages were very close to the guys, which were great to some degree. I didn't find, like, in other words, let's say for an example, I have a 70-year-old man. Right? If you say to me, what would be a natural age range you would look for a 70-year-old man? After interviewing, finding out his lifestyle, right? I would say anywhere between upper 50s to upper 60s. That's what I would say. Probably 57, 58 to maybe 68. Would I look for older? No, I wouldn't. Doesn't mean that we can't find an amazing 70-year-old woman for him, but that's like the age range, 5 to 10 years younger, 12 at the most. I didn't find that the women in the house were necessarily the best fits for The Bachelor. I'm being honest, I really didn't. I felt like if I grabbed him in my database, I would have presented very different women. But what I did love was this. There is no limit with age. And I say this to everyone. The majority of my clients are 60s, 70s, low 80s, upper 50s, right? I have a lot of men that have been divorced as well as widowers. And what I do love, and I love the men that say, even though like my 83-year-old who just got engaged, he was married to the same woman for 62 years. A lot of his family said, listen, Dad, like, you're lucky. You had a wonderful life. You have kids. You have grandkids. Just sit back and enjoy us. And you know what he said? He told me, I wasn't going to tell my kids. He's like, I have an interview with a matchmaker. They're like, Dad, you don't need to go to a matchmaker. You were married to Mom for so long. He goes, my life doesn't stop here. I feel good. I have so much more to live for. And he came to me. I remember our interview as if it was yesterday. He said to me, listen, I'm going to let you know, Cheryl, you're going to have to hold my hands a little. I forgot how to date. The last time I went on a date was 64 years ago, before I was even born. I set him up with his first girl. I remember everything so well. We talked, whatever, and that is the girl that he just got engaged with, and they're getting married. So he came to me about a year and a half ago. They moved in together about a year ago, just got engaged, getting married in a few weeks.
That's a wonderful story. So one thing you said just really piqued my curiosity. You said you always try to find the women who are younger than the men. Why is that?
Because usually, now remember, not always, 99% of the time, if a gentleman comes to a matchmaker and is paying a matchmaker, they are not paying us to find someone older than them. Okay? Not 50 through 80, definitely not. Who's a little more open? Maybe the gentleman 25 to 35, they'll give or take a few years older. But for me personally, no one has ever come to me and said, hey, I'm 70, I'm looking for a 75 to 80-year-old woman. It just doesn't happen. Now, could I match up a 70-year-old to a 70-year-old? Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's so funny. Every time I speak to a woman, every time, I hear on the phone, oh, I'm 50 or I'm 60, but Cheryl, you don't understand. Everyone thinks I look 20 years younger. Every man. Cheryl, I'm 75, but if you saw a picture of me and if you met me, you would think I'm 65. So just so you know, there's something in the water over here because everyone looks a good 20 years younger apparently. So I say that when I have a man that's 70 and I'm like, I have this beautiful 68-year-old and he's like, 68. I'm like, wait a second, but this is perfect. You told me you're 70. Everyone thinks you're 10, 15 years younger. Guess what? Everyone says the same thing to her. So therefore, you're both the same age, but you both look 20 years younger. It's perfect. So remember, it goes both ways. But I'm usually, again, 5 to 10 years of someone's age, I always think is very compatible.
Yeah, it's interesting because that kind of surprises me, and the thing that surprises me is that basically men are famously emotionally immature, right? So like if they're looking for like younger women, it seems like there's going to be like a I don't know like a bigger gap somehow, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know. So that is interesting that even at 60, 70 years old, most men are still looking for women who are that much younger than them.
Right. And you know what though? Realistically, and they'll be honest with me. They'll say to me, let's pretend he's 67. Cheryl, when I'm on my own, maybe they're on the apps, I have women that are reaching out to me who are 40, 45. And know what I say? That's wonderful. That must feel really good. I can understand that. Are you looking for a right now woman or a forever woman? Right now, go out with whoever you want. It's company on a Friday night, on a Saturday night. Maybe you have an affair to go to. No, that's fine. But if you're looking for forever, when you start getting 15, 20, 25-year age gap, you start feeling it. It's even talking about TV shows. Someone 20 years younger than you is not going to be in that, it's not going to be in like your generation, right? So, and I have people that say to me, and you know what they say? They're like, you're right. So if you're 67 and used to dating younger women, no problem. Maybe 50s, maybe mid to upper 50s is their sweet spot. Because remember, every person is different, I love these men. A lot of men will say to me, Cheryl, I'm 67. I don't want someone young. I don't. I have peers. I want to go out with them and their wives. I can't bring a 40-year-old with me. So they'll say someone closer to my age, and then of course they give me what they're looking for.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that I don't know. That's just so interesting because women live so much longer too, right? Like it seems to me that like women tend to be in better health overall as they get older. So like if you have like that much of a gay age range, it seems like the woman might have like a lot more energy, maybe a much higher libido and all that, and like want to go out more and do more stuff than like an older man. But you think it works anyway, even with that age
I
gap.
only think this because I've proven it, right? I have examples. Now, listen, I have men that come to me all the time, and they're older, and they're so funny. They're like, everything works, Cheryl. I promise you, everything works. And I laugh, and I said, great. I'm like, no, that's good to know. Because then when I'm selling them, and when I use the word selling, pitching them, to a woman, I'm like, listen, by the way, everything works. And they're like, it does? At 75, it does? I go, listen, he shared that with me. I mean, you'd be amazed at how much people share sometimes, especially my gay men. It's hysterical. But listen, the more they share, the better, like, my mind starts going, like, wow, I have a woman, and I start realizing, like, this woman is super sexual. Because I had men that come out and say that to me, Cheryl, listen, I might be 70, 75. I am super sexual. Like, I still have it. I don't care if they're taking Cialis or anything. That's none of my business. I don't care. They tell me they're still good in the bedroom and that's important to them. Beautiful. I love to know that. That's fabulous.
Yeah, it's funny. I know a guy. He told me that he was like 79. He goes, man, I still wake up with morning wood every day, right? Good to know. Good to know.
That is
But
hysterical.
yeah, but but what about people who like everything does not work, right? I mean, like there must be like a lot of people who are in their 70s and 80s, like who everything does not work. I mean, do they tell you that? And like, how do you match them
So
up with
you know what
somebody?
they'll say? They will not say their penis doesn't work. What they will say is, I'm looking for more companionship. And that's what they will say. So I will say, okay, this is great. So you're looking for more someone to be your companion, your best friend, to go to a movie, go to dinner with. And they say yes. And then I know for me, I've got to find that woman that is on the same page with them. That's what it's all about. The age, who cares? If it was up to me, I would never discuss anyone's age. I would respect what people want. I would never disclose age ever. It's about what are you looking for? What is your lifestyle? Are you a 70-year-old that goes out once a week but prefers to stay at home? Nothing wrong with that. Or are you a 70-year-old that's playing golf 3 times a week, going to the gym 5, and traveling every other month, right? You could still have 2 wonderful, good-looking, amazing 7-year-olds with 2 totally different lifestyles. So it has to do lifestyle, personality. What does your week look like? What is your favorite thing to do on a Saturday if you have a Saturday to yourself? And you get answers like that, and that's how you know how you can match it up. And you know what else I do? I will tell everyone, man, woman, gay, straight, send me photos of what you find attractive. I've learned this from a long time ago. What I find beautiful doesn't matter. What I find handsome doesn't matter. They have to. And beauty is really in the eye of the beholder, because for myself, I have made some introductions where in my mind I'm saying, oh, there's no way he's going to go out with her, but let me try. He's like, Cheryl, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh my God. Or about a man. So that's what I learned. So usually when people sign up with me, again, I have them send me pictures. I don't want to know who they are. I don't care if it's their brother, sister, or cousin. Show me what you find attractive, and I base that. I use that a lot for recruiting.
Okay, that's cool. So, so when they say companionship, that's sort of like code word for I'm really not looking for like a sexual relationship, essentially. So yeah, I see that a lot of times. Like people say, I'm looking for companionship. That's what they mean when they say that.
That's exactly what it means, and that's code for that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
nothing wrong with that. So, so like, let's just say that I, sign up and like it takes you, I don't know, a little while to like match me up. How many matches does it typically take before you find the one, or like how long, how many weeks or months or whatever will it take before they actually, like gel with somebody?
Sure. So we have 3 packages. So of course it depends on the package with how many dates you're guaranteed. You know what? I have a lot of people that joined, and on the first or second introduction, that was their person. We have people that, let's say it was their third or fourth. It depends. It depends on, have they been single for years where their pickiness just dropped. They're not as selective anymore because now they really just want to find someone. Or are they more newly divorced, getting their feet wet, and we can see they're a little more selective. I hate using the word picky, so I use the word selective. So that really depends. But I will say this, overall, we have over a 90% success rate. I would say about 5% of the people who might have met someone through us, let's say it lasted just a few months here, a few months there, they definitely rejoin. I have a lot of returning clients. And then there's always 5% of the people where, let's just say, need to do their own work. Like we could do only so much, right? We could do our job, but if they're not date ready, then the dates aren't going to be successful. So, but we do have, I would say, definitely a minimum of a 90% success rate.
Yeah, so my wife really likes watching reality TV shows, so I've seen a lot of reality TV, and I used to watch a show Million Dollar Matchmaker or Millionaire Matchmaker or something like that, and so a lot of the times the guys were basically in need of a lot of help, let's just say, right? I mean, like they were not like, I mean, maybe they were rich, but they were like fairly repulsive, or had like, I mean, maybe they picked those for TV. I don't really know, but like I would say these guys needed work. Do you find that a lot of your clients like need work and coaching and like help to like be successful in a relationship or be
Right.
attractive to one of the
Right.
ladies?
So there's a misconception with matchmaking that the people that go to matchmakers are like the misfits of the world, right? The men that can't find dates. It's actually the opposite. If I always say this, if I had a bulletin board here of every client I've ever had, you wouldn't believe me. You would think I was full of it. Like you'd be like, there's no way. So we don't get the men that can't find dates. We actually have the men that are usually too busy, don't go. So the younger generation, too busy, really looking to settle down and have a family. Middle, let's say 40s, 50s, right? Those are people that usually got divorced, maybe jumped on an app, maybe didn't. They're like, look, we're not going to bars to find people. And then we have the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they're like, look, I haven't gone on a date in 60 years or whatever. We are really looking to find someone serious, and I'm not going to be going on an app at 75, even though people can, but a lot of people choose not to. So that is really the clientele we have, and yeah, it's varies. It varies between each
So
person.
but like, what if somebody asks for help? I mean, like, do they say, well, like, I don't have a good self-image, or like, what do you think I could do? Or like, I've met some women before, and like, it hasn't worked out for like these reasons or whatever. Do you actually provide any kind of like
We will.
coaching or I
Yes,
mean, there's like
we
dating coaches
will.
I know. I mean, like, do you do anything like that?
Coaching always comes with everything. We will give constructive criticism as well. For an example, everyone gets after, like the date feedback, right? After every first date, we give feedback. So the feedback is never bad. But let's say, for an example, I've had this with people that actually chose to go out again. You know, Cheryl, the guy was great, but you know, he actually valeted. I parked my car. You know, he waited above the valet, kind of waved to me. I was really hoping it was dark out, he would walk me to my car. That's something that is good constructive criticism to give, so they learn, don't do that again, right? Coming late to a date, yes. Attire. You know, I have this great guy, super successful guy, went on a date, and it's really funny. He decided to pick her up. It was actually the second date. First date, we have everyone meet. Second date, he wanted to pick her up. Very fancy car. She told me the inside was a mess. A disaster. She's like, Cheryl, it almost looked like he like lived in his car, which she knew he didn't. And when he met her, he kind of came as if like he just came from the gym or something. Now, I had to tread water with that one because they were still going out, but I did. I let him know that these little things, right, mean a lot. Women pick up on it, and vice versa. I've had men come in like great attire, they're all dressed up, let's say they're going to a steakhouse, and the woman didn't dress up so well. So giving the constructive criticism is huge because remember, we are here to help. And in regard to self-image with coaching, I know a lot of matchmakers, they add that on for like, you know, well, for an extra whatever amount of money we coach. For me, that's part of being a good matchmaker. You are always coaching your clients. We become more therapists than anything. I've had clients tell me, which is hysterical, Cheryl, you know, this has been so great. I stopped going to my therapist. And I'm like, no. Don't stop going to a therapist. I am not a therapist. I don't have my doctorate in anything. Just, you know, keep on going to who you're going to, but we can still work together. Because you know what happens? At least I can speak for me. I become super close with my clients. I really do. We become close friends. I spend a lot of time with them. I know a lot about them, and it's like a journey together. So I am very invested into them as well. So I want the best for them. If there is something that I could share with them, like for an example, you need to cut your hair. It's too messy looking. Women like a little more cleaner cut. I'm going to share that in a very kind way. That's my job, to help them. And I have to tell you, that never went south, me doing that, ever. People appreciated, you know, the constructive criticism.
So I would imagine, like, just from our conversation, you seem like very easy to talk to, and you're a very good conversationalist. And I would imagine, though, that a lot of men would want to really have their hand held by you. I mean, like, you obviously know what you're doing, right? And I think that a lot of men might be like, hey, you know, like they might call you all the time. I mean, are you like constantly on the phone, like talking to people and like, you know, helping
You
them
know,
out or?
it's so funny. My partner always says this. He's like, it's amazing. I don't know what your spell is, but you have people that have multi-million-dollar companies. Maybe they're the CEO and they have 1,000 people under them. He's like, Cheryl, they get on the phone with you and you're like, all right, now listen to me. This is what you're going to do. Oh, and they listen. They absolutely listen. So I have men that will say, listen, I don't know what car to bring. I don't want to bring this car, but I have men that take pictures of their outfits like, Cheryl, which one do you think? Now, men, mind you, that you would never believe me if I told you who they were, that they were doing this. So to answer your question, yes. Am I always on the phone? Yes. Am I trying to limit it, meaning like after 9, you know, maybe can you wait for the next day? It depends. If they're on a date and they're super excited and they want to text me at 11, if I'm up, I will respond. 9 times out of 10 though, at 9 o'clock, I'm out for the night. But, you know, I build that with them. You could say maybe I do it a little too much. I really genuinely love what I do. So if someone needs me, if someone has a quick question for me, I've had people on dates, okay, they're on their date, go to the bathroom and call me. Do you believe this? Like, okay, listen, I have a question. She said this to me, but I don't know how to respond. Do I go back to her house? Please, you know, just help me out. And I'll be out for dinner with my husband. I'm like, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Like, I just got to take this and run out of the restaurant and help them.
Yeah,
You name it, I've had it.
I can imagine that happens all the time,
It does.
actually. So, I understand that your service is kind of like billed as being like 100% confidential and online. Is that correct?
Yes.
So like no one has to worry about their like anyone knowing or their profile appearing anywhere on a website. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Our entire database is 100% confidential. I can't begin to tell you at how many times I have X's in my database. Like the man is signed up as a client. always and telling me, just make sure my ex-wife doesn't hear about this. The ex-wife eventually down the road is joining my free database. I just want to let you know I have an ex-husband, and I'm actually, now remember, I'm not working for the women, so I have a lot of exes sometimes in my database. Sometimes I have very high profile people, so there is no, no one has a paper trail, like there's no database. It is 100% confidential. And even when I make the introduction, first names, there's no exchange of phone number, there's no exchange of email address, nothing personal goes out. We set up the dates, so I don't have people talking before the date. I stopped that a few years ago. Too many times people were texting each other and never planning a date, or I would have people, I was so excited about couples going out, and I would get a call from a woman, Cheryl, I know Bob, you love him so much and he's sweet, but I don't think I like his voice. He leaves me messages and it's so deep. And then this was the icing on the cake. This is what stopped the exchange of numbers. I was so excited about this one couple who were going out on a date. So I get super excited, okay? So excited. And she calls me up the night before to cancel. And I am like, I can't understand this. You guys have been talking. You've been texting. Why in the world would you cancel? Your date is tomorrow. You ready? I'm quoting her. He doesn't put emojis when he texts, and she gave him a week, and she cannot date someone who doesn't put emojis, and canceled the date. So I went into work. I went into work the next day, and I told my partner, guess what? New rule effective immediately. We are no longer exchanging numbers. And guess what, though? Our first dates have been so much more successful because now everyone has so much to talk about. They haven't been chatting or texting. So now the two people are going on a first date. They already know the other person okayed them, right? So clearly you already passed the first test. And the first dates have been so much more successful for that reason.
So, you mentioned like texting and emojis and like your database and all that. Like, is there any kind of like software or apps that your clients have to use, or is it all literally just person to person, just real stuff?
It's in real life. If I do have a client that, let's say, is in a different location, okay, and this happened with several of my gay clientele. Let's say one is in Florida and one is in Arizona. What I usually do is I do not want anyone jumping on a plane if you haven't even talked. We set up a virtual date. And the virtual date is we set up a day and a time. They do a FaceTime or a Zoom with each other. So it's almost like you and I talking, but we're talking to see if we hit it off. And then that is the only time I would exchange information. And that has been so wonderful. And then after several times of speaking, then they make arrangements to meet. But otherwise, everything is in real life. There's no apps, there's no nothing. It's all very old-fashioned matchmaking.
So basically, if they're in the same metro area, let's just say, you'll just say, show up at like, Big River Steakhouse at 7:00 and you provide a picture, or like, how do you?
Oh, of course. Yes. So let's say you're my client and I'll be like, okay, Sebastian, this is what I have. I'll send you the profile. So the profile is about the woman, okay? Just her first name, everything we discussed. From where does she live? Where is she from? Has she been married? Does she have kids? Hobbies, profession, political view, religion, etc. Okay? After you look at the bio, you will see about 3 to 5 photos of her. If you're like, Cheryl, she looks great, I would love to meet her, we then call her in your behalf. Now I have to exchange the information. But for you being my client, I will also call you because I will do a thorough interview with this woman. I use the example, the profile is like the resume, right? All that is like an outline. I want to tell you what you can't read on her profile. Oh my God, Sebastian, she has like the greatest personality. She was so cute. She was asking me all these questions about you. This is what I learned. And I'm able to tell you, as soon as you both agree you would like to meet, I'll ask you your schedule. Would you like to meet for lunch, dinner, a drink, coffee? It could be any of the above. If you say to me, Cheryl, Saturday brunch sounds great, I would love, I have this great place I go to, I will then call her. Would you like to meet for brunch Saturday at this time? The night before, I call both of you, confirm the date and the place. You meet on Saturday, and then Sunday I'm on the phone with both of you to see what your feedback is.
So do you like present them with like, okay, here's 3 profiles, pick one, or here's 3, and you're gonna go see all 3, or how does that work?
Always one at a time. You only will meet one person at a time. But sometimes if you just started with me, could I send you maybe 2 or 3 to begin and I want to talk about each one? Yes. But you will only date one person at a time. I will never set up a man, let's say with one woman this Saturday and one woman next Thursday. I won't do that. I want them, you're never going to have a good date with someone if in the back of your mind you're looking forward to the date the following week. So we do one at a time, we see how you like her, and then we decide if you want to move forward with her, do you want to go out with her again, or are you interested to possibly meet someone new?
So you send them a profile and they say, not my type. Like, I don't like how she looks. What do you say? Do you say try it anyway, or do you just keep on giving them profiles until they find a match?
Right.
Or
No, that's the hard part of the job. Because yes, we do get that. I need to know, what don't you like? Her hair is too long. Okay, so let's talk about that. Her hair is too long, right? That's something easily changeable. Cheryl, I don't like the fact that she has 3 kids and 5 dogs. Okay, fair enough. I notate that. Because now I'm not going to send him a profile with a woman with 3 kids or someone with a lot of dogs. So I always say there has to be a good reason. Now let's just say, listen, she looks great and everything. She looks exactly like my ex-wife. I just can't do it. Okay, great. What does your ex-wife look like? Honestly, this woman. Great. I notate that. No woman can now resemble. So there has to be a good reason. Have I given a little push before? I have. And I have 3 examples where I had 3 couples a little hesitant about going out with one another. They all went out. This was at different times, okay? And all their feedback was the same. Oh my God, we had such a lovely time. I just don't know. I don't have the butterflies. I don't know. But when I hear that from 2 people, I'm like, look, the first date sometimes is tricky. Sometimes people, they feel like they're on an interview. They're nervous. I believe in 2 dates, not 3 or 5. If you're not sure, go out on the second date. Look, he said the same things about you. Maybe the second time you'll feel a little looser, do something different. 3 examples where I really gave that push. All 3 are married. 2 of them have kids together, and this is over 10 years ago. And we joke around to this day that if I didn't give them that push, and think about it, if they met online, they would have never been where they are today. So that's where a matchmaker really comes in.
all right, well that's terrific. So you mentioned that you have like 3 packages. Like, so
Yes.
what are the packages, and can you tell us how much those packages
Yeah,
cost?
absolutely. So right now we have 3 different ones depending on what you're looking for. The first package is $5,000. That gives you anywhere between 4 and 5 dates. We work with you for several months, right around the 4-month mark. The second package is the 6-month package. That is 10,000. We usually knock off 1,000, so it's 9, and that gives you anywhere between 8 and 10 days. The beautiful thing about the 6-month package is it's anywhere between 6 and 12 months because we give you 2 freeze options. So what does that mean? Let's say you go on a date and you're like, wow, I really like this girl, Cheryl. I don't want you introducing me to anyone at the moment. Great, we freeze you. And the freeze can be up to 3 months. We give you 2. So the 6-month for 9,000 is anywhere between 6 months and a year. And then of course we have our 1-year package. That ends up being, I think it's about 13,500, unlimited dates, unlimited freeze options, and we work with you anywhere between 1 and 2 years, depending on if you freeze, how many
So
times you
what,
freeze.
so what's the typical package, and how long does it usually take for somebody to actually find the one?
Again, that depends. I've had people sign up for a year that we have been working with for a year. I've had people sign up for a year, bam, in 1 or 2 dates. The most common package is usually the middle one. They feel a lot more relaxed. Okay, I have time. I have a lot of dates coming to me. Because sometimes the 5-month package, because you have such few dates, everyone gets so picky, right? Well, I don't know if I want to say yes to her. She looks great, but maybe the next one's better. I'm going to wait. And that's the problem sometimes we have. So, I always try to tell people, listen, you never know until you try. The more people you do meet, the better your chances are of finding someone logically. So to answer your question, it could be the first date, it could be the last date. It really depends. But we're good at what we do. So a lot of times we get it early.
So is there like a prorated refund? Like if you like get a year package and then the first person that you go out with, they are perfect, or that's just it?
I'm going to answer you. So my 83-year-old client to this day has a joke with me. And his joke was he paid more money to work with me directly. He has the 6-month package, but again, paid more. And so the biggest joke it is, because remember, he got it on the first date, that I owe him. I owe him 9 dates, and he's going to remember that. So again, he's getting married and everything, but no, there is no, because at the end of the day, all you say is, look, if I said to you right now, to anyone, for X amount of money, I'm going to find you your future wife, people will pay. So our prices in the matchmaking world are above and beyond fair, extremely reasonable. A lot of matchmakers are starting at $25,000, some start at $50,000. I mean, and they go up from there. So I know in my heart of hearts, I'm not robbing anyone. I have very fair pricing. So no, there is no refund. And if someone finds someone, they're not looking to get any money back anyway. They're over the moon.
Right. Well, it's like me as a realtor. I'm a realtor. That's my day job, but I'm not podcasting, right? Like people go like, well, if you sold my house in 3 days, like, why am I still paying you the same as if it took like, 3 months? It's like, well, what would you rather have? Would you rather sell your house in 3 days or have it like be excruciating, painful experience for 3 months, right? I mean, like, you should pay me more if I sell it in 3 days versus 3 months.
Yes, that's a perfect example. Perfect example.
Right. So, okay, but not everybody has $5,000 to do a matchmaker. So, can you give any just general advice, like, okay, like, or like, what can I do short of hiring a matchmaker? Just maybe 2 or 3 like quick tips for like older adult men, let's just say, or women to like, to find love.
Absolutely, and you're right. Not everyone does have money to, get a matchmaker or do not want to go online. My suggestion is always this. The more you get out, physically out of your house, betters your chances. And I always say this, if you were looking for a job, are you going to sit on your couch? Do you think a job is going to come to you? It's the same thing about being single. So that's number 1, getting out of your house. Number 2, the more people you tell, hey Jim, you know what, if you ever know a nice lady, I'm single, whatever. People, married people, single people, we all know single people. Number 3, go to more activities that you enjoy. If you're someone who plays golf, go play golf more often. Right off the bat, if you meet someone playing golf, you have that in common. Bookstores are huge with finding people, or coffee places. A lot of times single people will go to bookstores, sit down at the table, maybe have a cup of coffee, do something, people at Starbucks. And I always say smile. I know that sounds so cliche and silly. What do you mean smile? Eye contact and smile. If you notice, married people are not looking around, okay? Single people are. The next time you go out, take my word for it, you'll see. The more you smile, the more inviting you look. And I say this to a lot of women also. Men could be intimidated, right? They don't smile. And if you look and give eye contact and smile, you'd be amazed. You could be walking in your supermarket and a nice gentleman will start talking to you just because you give a nice friendly smile and say hello. So those are always the tips I give, and they work. They really do.
Yeah, well, that is great advice. Okay, so we're kind of needing to wrap this up here. Before we go, how can people get a hold of you? Do you have like a website or a YouTube channel or a blog? Or?
We have all of the above. So our company is matchmaking.com. Our site is www.matchmaking.com. We're on Instagram as that. We have YouTube. But all you do is go on there and you can see exactly if you're a gentleman looking for a woman looking for a man, or a man looking for a man. You'll be able to click exactly what you want, fill out the profile, and we get back to you same day.
Same day. Well, matchmaking.com is a great domain name. Did you have to buy that for a king's ransom?
Yes, my partner did. He's brilliant. He was able to get it, and for a nice little hefty price. And yes, it's a wonderful name. We love it.
Very good. All right. Well, Cheryl, this has been like a really fun conversation, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to get a tremendous amount of value from it. And I thank you so much for appearing on the show, and I hope to catch you someday on the flip side. Maybe if I ever come to Florida, we can do lunch or something.
I would absolutely love this. This was so much fun, really. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
All right. Thanks, Cheryl. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Take care.
All right. Well, that is a wrap for this episode of 60 Plus Uncensored. Huge thanks to Cheryl Maida for setting the tone with such insight and honesty. Now, if you like this episode, do me a favor, do Cheryl a favor, hit that subscribe button or leave a review, and then share it with someone that you know who needs to hear it, and you know someone who needs to hear it. Now, if you know someone over 60 who's still doing big things, living boldly, working with purpose, or just aging on their own terms, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out at team60plus.com or join the conversation on Reddit at 60 Plus Uncensored. I'm Seb Frey, and this is 60 Plus Uncensored, because as we're learning, life after 60 isn't the end, it's just getting good.
Subscribe now.